Alright fellas, here we go. White Day is here, and with that comes a huge list of patch notes for the patch 0.14. I mean, I've just gone through them quickly here to see what we're up against, and it seems pretty goddamn nice, I will say. There are a lot of changes here, and you know, let's just dive right into it. First off, we've got Ground Zero, a brand new map added to the game. Now this will be a bit special because you will only be allowed to join this map from level 1 to level 20. PMCs higher than level 20 will not be able to enter the map. Now this map is kind of located in the center of the streets of Tarkov. It's being surrounded by skyscrapers, they say, and then there are some buildings in the middle here, even the Terror Group building where the original conflict began. Scavs will have access to this location at any player level, and there will be some new starter quests that have been added to the location. There's also some visual cues for new players that has been added to the location. I don't know exactly what this means, if this is maybe to make it easier to find an extract or something. We'll have to wait and see until we can get in there. The quests debut checking, renamed to background check, shortage, supplier, and Gunsmith Part 1 received updated text descriptions. Maybe because they now are like available to do them on Ground Zero as well. So definitely gonna have to jump in here to Ground Zero and try out the new map before you hit level 20. Otherwise, you can always check it out as a scav, of course. Then next, we've got a new boss on streets, Kolontai. He is the former officer of the MVD, the Ministry of the Internal Affairs. And he likes to apparently use a baton to slap you if he feels like he's getting too confident. Otherwise, he's obviously just gonna blast you with his weapons. He has a small number of guards, and he prefers to stay in one position where he occasionally patrols his territory. And yeah, like I said, if he feels like he has the upper hand, he might switch to his police baton and slap you. He resides in the area around the Klimov shopping mall and the Tarkov Academy of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. Then we've got two new Kaban guards. I don't know why that's so special, but I guess they are quite special. Basman and Goose. And apparently they like to roam around in some clothes from Ragman. So what I'm thinking is that they might be looking a bit like PMCs, these two guys. Not every time it says, but most of the time, these guys prefer their tactical clothing to armor and gear. So I think we'll be seeing some PMC looking guards up in Lexos quite soon. Also, Basman and Goose always like to stay close to Kaban and charge into battle for him. Like I said, they do prefer their unique close to battle gear. So that's kind of funny. Also, Basman has a special fondness for machetes and Gus for crowbars. So I guess they like to slap the hell out of you. Now, the next one is a big one, I'd say. Well, we've got a shoreline rework. And to start things off, we've visually reworked most of the landscape, keeping the main points of interest intact. So, you know, that's going to be real exciting to see what is the new shoreline looking like. They've added a new area, a small cattle farm, which is home to smugglers and scavs. They've updated the light sources. They have optimized most of the location, completely redesigning the culling system. And they have done this on several maps in the past patches I've seen. Last wipe, it was Lighthouse getting an update to the culling system. And honestly, I'm not quite sure what it means. Let's hope it's something good. Reworked location borders, concrete fences replaced by minefields and snipers in most areas, and the location is also slightly expanded in some areas. So before on Shoreline, you had walls going all around the edges of the map pretty much. Now this is going to be replaced by border snipers and mines. So you better watch yourself out there, guys, or you're going to get blown up one tap by a crazy sniper. They have reworked some points of interest, including the addition of new quests and activities in several previously empty zones. So that's quite nice. Some areas have been reworked to improve gameplay, added a river crossing, reworked almost all elevation and sniper positions, as well as scav areas of interest, etc. So once again, a whole lot of changes, a river crossing and some rework to the elevation and sniper positions. Then they've added more than 30 new containers and Jaeger stashes, which is quite nice, because I always like to farm my stashes on this map. And they fixed over 1,200 visual and minor bugs. That sounds completely crazy that there was even 1,200 visual and minor bugs. Let's just hope, and I will expect Shoreline to be running so crisp right now, man. Oh my god, I gotta try it. Alright, so we've got some new weapons added to the game. The KBP 9A91 and the KBP VSK94. both using the 9x39 caliber, which is the same as the VSS and the Val. So we've got a new Val/VSS rifle. That's going to be really nice to try out, see how it looks. It's a compact assault rifle, and the other one is just a rifle. We've got the SIG MCX Spear 6.8x51. .277 Fury. So this is an entirely new caliber. I can't say I recognize this caliber from anywhere in the game before. So not only are they adding a new gun here, they are also adding a new caliber to the game. Very exciting. Next, we've got the DECTRF RPD and the RPD-N using 7.62x39. So, you know, the big AK rounds. This is also going to be nice to see how it'll do. Is it going to be a new meta gun, or is it just going to be a new gun that we use every now and again because we want to? Updated the model and animations for Simonov SKS 7.62. So this is the brown SKS that they've updated the models and the animations of. Next, we've got changes and new mechanics. And hold your horses, guys, because this is a big one. They are adding an achievement system to the game. Players will receive achievements upon completing various objectives, and earned achievements will not be lost with wipes. You can view the earned achievements on the achievements tab of the character screen. So it's kind of going to be a hit or miss with this one, but it'll be fun to see what kind of achievements we get. You know, I've always been a bit of a sucker for achievement hunting if they seem like there are worthwhile achievements. So next we've got the Hall of Fame, which is an entirely new hideout zone that has been added to the game. The zone serves as a place where you can display mementos. For displaying the dog tags of players of the opposite faction killed by your PMC, you get a bonus to combat skills leveling. And the higher the level of the eliminated player, the greater the skill bonus. So when you kill a PMC, apparently only of the opposing faction, so if you're a bear, it has to be a USEC and vice versa, you can take this dog tag out of the raid with you and display it in your Hall of Fame. And the higher the level of this dog tag, the higher the combat skills leveling bonus you will get is. You can add items to your favorites. Such items will be displayed in your profile. So I guess this is kind of the items that are your favorite items, because that's one thing we'll get to in a bit. The new profile. Hold on. Alright, next we come up to the new hitbox and armor system. So they have added several new hitboxes to the game, such as to the head area they've added front neck throat, back neck neck, and a face collider. For the pelvic hit zones, they've added front groin and back buttocks, and hitting these zones will cause damage to the stomach zone. They've reduced the forearm hit zones in diameter, and also on your death screen, you will now have a more specific description of where you were hit. Now they've added 37 ballistic plates to the game, 7 for the chest, 6 for the rear, 20 universal plates for the chest and rear sections, and 4 for the side sections. Now, we're not gonna go through all this right now. What it basically says is that there are a bunch of new zones that can be protected, and there are a bunch of new zones that are unprotected. So now armor is only gonna cover what it visually is covering. So if your belly is exposed, your belly is going to be hit. If your armpit is exposed, your armpit is going to get hit. It's basically way more specific, as well as the fact, of course, that we have all of these new armor plates that you can add. They are being affected by light and heavy armor skill. There's just a whole lot of changes here. You can also see the new, like they've made it easier to tell the armor level of the item you're wearing by displaying it in Roman numerals. A whole bunch of changes to the armor section. Way too much to go through here. Then they have removed the flea market ban from a large number of body armor. This is really nice, as well as ballistic plates of protection classes 5 and 6 cannot be sold on the flea, and ballistic plates have been added to the inventory of various traders. Cool. Next one is a big one, fellas. Vaulting and obstacle interaction. So we're getting vaulting. Woo! Obstacle vaulting has been added to the game. There are 2 types of vaulting: climbing the obstacle and remaining on it, for example climbing a crate to fire at the enemy from top of it, or vaulting over an obstacle, for example jumping over a small fence to take a shortcut. Each of these types has different animations for different heights, different parameters of stamina and arm stamina consumption, and different action speeds depending on the negative effects. During a sprint, you can jump over obstacles without the goal of climbing them, vaulting. If vaulting is performed while walking, the loudness of such actions will be noticeably lower than jumping and sprinting. For the convenience of overcoming obstacles, an option has been added to the game settings: vaulting over medium obstacles, where you can choose auto or hotkey. If you select auto, your character will climb over medium on low height obstacles by himself. However, if you select hotkey, you will need to press the jump key to initiate vaulting, but this way you can control your character's actions more precisely. Also, the character now stops if he hits a wall while walking or sprinting. So actually, although this is very exciting, the last one here is actually telling us that you will no longer be able to fake sprint by sprinting into a wall and like standing in position sprinting. You will have to do that in a small circle, because when you hit a wall now, either when walking or sprinting, your character is gonna stop. However, all of this is very cool. We're gonna be getting the vaulting finally added to the game. You'll be able to vault on top of an object or vault over an object like a fence and such. And there's even a hotkey for it. And we can still jump over objects, of course. So I think this will be quite nice. This will be fun to try out. Let's see how it works in game. The next one, shoulder transition. This is also a huge one, guys. The ability to move firearms from the right shoulder to the left shoulder and back has been added to the game. This can be useful when you want to fire from the left side while behind cover. Shoulder transition is available during walking, crouching, leaning, and other actions. And shoulder transitions is not available while prone and overhead and side blind firing. Okay, so while you're prone and while you're blind firing, or overhead and side blind firing, you cannot change position. Fair enough. Positioning the weapon on the left shoulder imposes a penalty. Oh, the weapon has additional sway when moving. Okay, so if you swap to your left shoulder, you're gonna be having additional sway when moving. Right, fair enough. I guess they're right-handed are operators, and using the left shoulder is a bit unnatural for them. So that's why we're getting a bit more sway. This will be really nice though in changing up the meta of right-hand peaks. Now suddenly people are going to be peeking you from the left-hand side, showing just as little of them as they usually are with a good right-hand peek. This will be fun to try out. Let's see how that turns out, guys. Control settings. Warning. All control settings have been reset to default. Alright, so you're gonna have to go and redo your keybinds if you're using any custom keybinds. Added shoulder transition action. Default key is mouse 4. Okay. Added vaulting action. Default key is space. Press type is continuous. The jump action has been reassigned to spacebar. With release press type. Preset arrow loading. So this is pretty cool. Just like the hideout presets and the weapon presets, we're getting presets for magazines. So you'll be able to make some presets where you choose different types of ammo to top load. You'll be able to make some presets where you choose how you want to set up your magazine. So let's say you want to have 10 rounds of 995 at the top, and then some 5.56A1 in the bottom and in the middle. Well, you can now make it with a preset. I can't really imagine what this looks like in game, but I'm excited to try it out. And it'll make it a lot easier to make some of these kits a bit faster, because stacking ammo, even though it's not a huge time-consuming process, it's one of those things that just takes a little bit of time. So eliminating those one at a time is just... It's so nice to see BSD thinking about these things. We've also got new recoil mechanics. This one I'm really excited to try out. The recoil mechanic has been improved to make it more realistic and comfortable for players. So to make it more realistic sounds a bit scary, but comfortable for players, that sounds like a good thing, right? So let's see how it feels like. A special emphasis has been placed on improving the feel of semi-auto and short burst shooting. Honestly, I think this sounds like a great change, because that's one thing where, let's say you take a full auto rifle, right? And you're shooting down sight, you're tapping down sight, right? Previously, it would be if you didn't set it to single fire, your gun will jump a lot on each single bullet that you fire, because it's expecting you to do full auto sprays. So you're getting, even though you're just firing one bullet, you're getting the kick of like a full auto spray. But if you set it to single fire, it will be way more quiet in the way it recoils. So hopefully this is something they fixed to make it feel better to tap and stuff like that. New recoil mechanic now includes a variety of flexible settings, allowing for balance adjustments based on analytical data and player feedback. So I guess that's for them. They're making it easier to change these things in the future. I guess that's how I'm supposed to read that. All weapon recoil parameters have been rebalanced. Okay, good or bad, we don't know. We're gonna have to see. This one is crazy sick. Lightkeeper services. After completing certain Lightkeeper quests, you will be able to unlock access to the following services. Now, I know this is not for a lot of people. Personally, I haven't unlocked Lightkeeper yet, but maybe this will have to be the wipe, because look at this, man. The Sacred Amulet service. Lightkeeper gives the character the item Sacred Amulet. While the character is wearing the amulet, all cultists on all locations do not attack you unless provoked. Cool. You can become friendly with cultists. Until you shoot at them, of course. You can also get rogue support service. When a player purchases this service in that raid, rogues will not attack the player who ordered the service, regardless of their faction. In addition, rogues will provide fire support by attacking targets that the player who purchased this service has directed their attention to. So you can literally hire the rogues as a firing squad. This is so cool. I don't know how it'll work out because you also gotta go to the Lightkeeper and purchase it first, I guess. And so you'll already be like 15-20 minutes into the game before you can even get close to the water treatment plant. But let's see how it plays out. Next one is also super cool. You can buy Shirachi support. So when a player buys this service in that raid, Shirachi will support the player by firing at the target the player is attacking. Once again, you can get Shirachi as an attack doll. We're gonna have to see how that works out, you know, but this is kind of cool. I like what they're trying to do here. We're gonna have to see how it works out in the game. But I really like what they're trying to do, I'm not gonna lie. Now you can add the displayed weapon to your favorites. These weapons will be displayed in your profile. Alright, so something about the weapon rack, and you can add some weapons in your weapon rack to your favorites. And this will be displayed in your profile. And to tell you more about the profiles, they are now adding viewable profiles to the game. Added the ability to view another player's profile page. In a player's profile, you can view gear equipped by the player, brief statistics, rare achievements earned, favorite weapons displayed at the weapon rack, and favorite items displayed in the Hall of Fame. Player profiles can be viewed on any screen of the game, including the raid exit screen after dying to another player. So that sounds really cool. A lot of people I know have been asking for this, the ability to at least do just the tiniest bit of check on the people that you died to, which it seems like you'll be able to do now. You'll be able to open up their player profile once you come out of the raid. So that's really, really cool. I love to see this change. We're gonna have to see what's in there in terms of information, but that's really, really cool. They've adjusted peaceful and combat behavior of AI when moving from one area to another within one location. All right, we've also got a lot of balancing changes to trading. They've changed the traded prices and availability of ammunition in the following calibers. I'm not gonna go over this, but there's a lot of availability and pricing they're changing, it seems. They've also changed the traded prices and availability of armor on all loyalty levels, and adjusted various trade offers and barters of weapon attachments and other items. So I can't read if this is a nerf or if this is a buff, if we're getting it earlier or later. All they're saying is they're changing it. So good to know. Good to know, BSG. Balancing changes to quests. They've expanded quest rewards. You will now be rewarded more often with unlocking previously unavailable trade offers, barters, ammo, and armor crafting receipts. Okay, so maybe it was a buff. They've made it so we'll more often be rewarded with unlocking good ammo or something that we'll need, right? Change the order of skier quests from the West Part 2 and setup. Right, so now we got from the West Part 2 into setup, into informed means we're alarmed, into chumming, bullshit, silent caliber. Okay. They've changed the quest objectives for Punisher Part 2, Part 4, and Tarkov Shooter Part 4. So we're gonna have to wait till we get in the game and unlock these quests until we can see what has changed. This doesn't give us anything. Balancing changes to crafting. Now to make an armor vest. Oh yeah, you need a ballistic plate in order to craft an armor vest, because ballistic plates are the new hot and cool thing in the game that we'll be using a lot. They've also reduced the production time and cost of cheap ammunition, which I guess is fine. The damage and armor penetration parameters of different caliber ammunitions have been revised and adjusted. So we don't know once again if this is a buff or a nerf, but they are changing the pen and damage of certain bullets. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see, fellas. Alright, and the muzzle devices have been rebalanced. Suppressors, muzzle adapters, flash hiders, and compensators. Rebalanced. You know, once again, your guess is as good as mine. What does this mean? I don't know, but we've got changes to suppressors, muzzle adapters, flash hiders, and compensators. Cool. This one is hella cool, guys. They have added the BTR-82A to the game. It's been added to Streets of Tarkov, and it's traveling between different stop points in the city. Now, this BTR driver offers various services to his passengers, us being the passengers, and everybody else in the raid. You are able to purchase a taxi service, so the player can travel to any available point in the city in total safety. That's hella cool. I don't know how it'll work. I guess you kind of flag him down when he drives by you, and you can ask to be driven somewhere or pay for it or whatever. This next one, though, you can move items to stash service. The player can send items to the stash with the status found in raid. This service is only available for PMCs. But imagine, guys, You're running around a streets raid. You've just killed 1 or 2 guys. You are completely packed with loot. The BTR drives past you. There's still 30 minutes left of the raid, so you just head over there and send freaking everything back to the stash. Now you have clear bags and you're ready to continue your raid for another 30 minutes. This is so sick, man. You'll be able to send items directly back to the stash with the status fan in raid. This is so cool. I can't wait to try it out. Covering fire service. So you can also purchase the BTR to be your hitman, basically. The player can order covering fire with the help of BTR weaponry, which provides the safest possible drop-off at the stopping point. The service is available only after purchasing the taxi service. And it's also only available for PMCs. Super cool. You'll be able to get covering fire from the BTR. We're gonna have to see how it works out in game. Is it OP or not? But the whole idea of it seems very, very cool. Okay, so a list of stop points right here. We've got Pinewood Hotel, Rudina Cinema, Collapse Crane, Cardinal Apartment Complex, the Tram, and the City Center. Also, the BTR is neutral to all players unless a player starts attacking it first. And if someone purchases the covering fire service, the BTR becomes hostile. Once the service ends, the BTR becomes neutral to all players again. And the cost of the service depends on the faction, player using Scaff, and Scaff karma, charisma skill level, and travel distance. I can't imagine it being too expensive, but we'll have to see, we'll have to see. Super funny to try out, I will say. We've got a little bit of quality of life changes here. The visual effects of the painkillers has been changed. Let's go! Alright, well, maybe it's too early to celebrate, but I really didn't like the last iteration. Please, BSG, give us something better. The door to the expanded part of the hideout is now always open after construction. Okay, cool. Change the camera system in the hideout from rail to a free camera. Ah, that's cool, that's cool. So you can move it around with WASD. Rotate the camera, hold middle mouse button plus mouse movement, and you can also zoom on scroll wheel. So that's super cool. They've added a new camera to the hideout. It's not really gonna do much, but I did like the rail camera anyways. List of changes. So, oh, this is cool. Fixed several visual bugs and artifacts on streets and shoreline. They fixed incorrect spawn points of random containers on all locations. They fixed a problem that led to the lack of damage registrations for melee weapons in some cases. They fixed incorrect behavior of rogues when attacking the hangar buildings on Lighthouse. They fixed an issue where killed bots would remain standing. I don't know if I tried that. Fixed the lack of muzzle flash when looking at a shooting player. They fixed AI behavior when interacting with stationary weapons. I've definitely experienced that. They fixed incorrect values of some parameters in the character statistics. They fixed incorrect camera behavior in the hideout when scrolling UI elements. Fixed several compatibility issues with weapon attachments. Oh, that's cool. Fixed the ability to hear outdoor sounds while inside the bunker on reserve. Okay, so overall, this seems like a really huge patch, guys. I must say. This seems like a big one, right? This seems like a big one. So we're getting a new map, a new bus guards, shoreline rework, new weapon, new equipment. We're getting an achievement system, a Hall of Fame. We're getting the new hitboxes and the entirely updated armor system with the armor plates and everything. And the more specific protection from the armor, depending on where it visually is defending you. We've got vaulting and obstacle interactions. We've got shoulder transition. We've got the preset ammo loading, new recall mechanics, Lightkeeper services, the weapon rack where you can now choose some favorites to display in your profile. Along with that, we've got the viewable profiles. I mean, this seems like a big one. We've got the BTR on streets now that you can hire. This just seems like a major update, guys, and I cannot wait to get in there. So that's it, fellas, and I hope you got a little bit out of this video. Thank you for sticking around, and have a good wipe day, guys. Take care.